Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. So today I'd like to discuss the right to repair in Massachusetts with regards to motor vehicles and a judge that seems to be really mad in a direction that seems to be good for our side. Before I get into that, I'd like to discuss something that I really wasn't expecting to affect me as much mentally as it has, but it has, and maybe it'll affect some of you in the same way. So I came back to this old place. I want to start cleaning up and just getting rid of a bunch of old crap here before I start doing more traveling around the United States and more settling into that New Hampshire apartment. I want to just get rid of a bunch of old crap for obvious reasons if I do not want to keep this place much longer. And one of the things that I realized is I have a lot of junk. I have a lot of stuff that I either took for free because a place was going out of business, or I just accumulated all this random crap that I don't use. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't bring me enjoyment, but it's there. And I didn't realize the level of anxiety that that creates when I come home, being around all of this stuff that I don't use, that I don't need, that doesn't bring me enjoyment or happiness. And I've started to give it away. So if I have something and I look at it and I don't use it, doesn't bring me happiness, doesn't bring me joy, I put it in a box outside, and I put an ad up saying this thing is outside for, whoever gets it first can get it, whatever's in this box of free stuff. And it's actually been releasing a lot of anxiety that I didn't even realize was there when I come home and I'm only surrounded by the things that I need. And I didn't realize that until I spent time settling into that New Hampshire apartment. So I decided to get rid of a lot of junk. So if you have that weird level of anxiety when you come home and you don't really know what it's over, I'm not saying this is going to fix it, but it's helped me. So I'm just kind of curious if it may help you. Are you surrounded by crap that you don't use, that you don't need, that's just random clutter that you keep just because you feel like you should, because you shouldn't give it away? I'm going around and getting rid of a lot of crap. Again, microphone I tried to fix, I failed. Someone else is saying, hey, if you're going to throw it away, give it to me. All sorts of mounts and weird stuff and just like all sorts of crap that I've been giving away, like, furniture that I haven't sat on in 3 years. It's like, what are you doing here? Get out of here. So I'm really kind of less focused in the mindset of how do I store all this stuff to move it, and more in the mindset of how can I give all of this random crap that I don't actually use away. So what I'd like to discuss today is the Massachusetts automotive right to repair. This passed 10 years ago. The whole idea was that you may be looking for an independent mechanic to work on your vehicle rather than going to the dealer, like most people that want to respect their wallet. And it was becoming more and more difficult for independents to be able to work on your car. They wanted to ensure that would be able to be an option into the future, so they passed it. However, there was one problem here. And the problem is that there was a loophole for wireless systems. Now, this wasn't really a big issue in 2012, but with all the crap that they're cramming into cars nowadays, it's not far-fetched that much of the repair stuff is going to be done wirelessly. Much of the diagnostic stuff will be done wirelessly. And if there's a loophole for wireless in the original bill, then that could mean that independents wind up getting screwed out of being able to work on more modern vehicles. So this was passed. There is an automotive engineer that watches my channel routinely who often provides corrections, and I really badly want to have him on for an interview. I just need him to get clearance from his boss. So I'm just reminding you, if you are the automotive engineer and you are watching, would love to have you on. Please do let me know if your boss said yes or no, because just to be clear, when it comes to the specific field that I work on in consumer electronics, I believe that I'm an expert in that field. I know what I'm talking about. When it comes to cars, just so that you were all on the same page, I'm kind of pulling the stuff out of my ass here. I don't really know much about repairing cars. I know about the concepts, but the nitty-gritty details and all that are not something that I am particularly knowledgeable on. So I hope I can have that guy on. Anyway, this passed by a landslide. You can see 74.97% voted yes, 25.03% voted no. They did put out a lot of propaganda. I went over that in this video. A sexual predator could use this data to stalk their victims. Oh, you're going to get attacked in a parking lot, and they got this person in the parking lot slowly walking up to their victim. They got the shaky camera. They had the scary music, and none of that actually did anything, because at the end of the day, right to repair won in a landslide. However, as I mentioned in this video, car manufacturers were suing to undo the right to repair law in Massachusetts. They were saying that this, I think it was something like this is against federal law. Oh my God, websites are so obnoxious nowadays. Look at this. This is literally just one giant ad. I don't even know where the article starts. Anyway, this is a lawsuit filed by OEM trade group Alliance for Automotive Innovation against Massachusetts right to repair laws in court, according to a release from the Auto Care Association. The law, which state voters approved, gives car owners access to this. And let's see, it says there are cybersecurity concerns, insufficient time to comply with the new data access requirements, and their contention that the ballot initiative is preempted by federal law. Now, just a few months after this happened, they said, listen, there's no way we could comply with this. Subaru disabled Starlink in Massachusetts for right to repair compliance. So they told the judge, there's no way that we could comply with this. And then, like a few months later, they complied with it. So the judge is pissed, and you could tell that he's pissed by his comments, which I'd like to read down below. It says, an exasperated federal judge said Wednesday he was close to a verdict in a suit challenging Massachusetts' revised right to repair law, yet he pressed attorneys for a group of manufacturers about why they didn't tell him that new Subaru and Kia vehicles complied with the rules they claimed are impossible to follow. After sitting through a bench trial last summer, U.S. District Judge Douglas P. Woodlock decided in October to hear new evidence about the cars in question, which can simply turn off the so-called telematic systems at the center of the law. The law broadens a 2012 version that gave independent repair shops access to cars' diagnostic and repair information. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation, which represents big-name car brands like General Motors, Toyota, and Volkswagen, sued after Massachusetts voters passed the expanded law at the ballot box. This is one thing that I think is important to note. Again, most people don't realize this. They think that Tesla is the only anti-right to repair company to some extent. There are a lot of them that really seem pissed at the prospect that you may be able to fix your future vehicle. Judge Woodlock, describing himself as irritated, pressed Alliance attorney John Natalenko of Meyer Brown LLP on why the automakers didn't realize two of their members had taken steps to comply with the law before hearing the evidence in two sets of closing arguments. We will ask whether we are dealing with concerted ignorance, willful blindness, or simply don't ask, don't tell, Judge Woodlock said. Those are piercing words. He's pissed. He's mad. From reading this, I can't see him in person. I can't hear his vocal intonation. He sounds pissed. And he doesn't sound pissed at the right to repair side. Natalenko said the Alliance did not find out Subaru and Kia had disabled telematic systems on new cars being sold in Massachusetts until the fall, after the evidence had been presented to the judge. Okay, now I want you to think about this line. They didn't find out that they had disabled it, but they are part of that group. So you didn't realize that your own members were doing this. So it seems like you don't know what your own members are doing. So when you are creating these arguments, it seems like you're kind of pulling them out of your ass, which really doesn't, that's not a good defense in my opinion. We had no idea that they were doing this. What you're really saying there is we had no idea that they would be able to comply with this when we told you that they would not be able to comply with this. Anyway. But he also stressed that evidence in question was not the smoking gun the state attorney general, whose office is defending the law, has made it out to be. We simply didn't know during the case that Kia was doing what it was doing, Natalenko said, adding there is nothing inconsistent about the proposed findings or the fact that car makers submitted at the trial's conclusion. It was never disputed at trial that companies could turn off telematics. That was a truism from the get-go of the case, he said. The new evidence is not evidence. It was admitted throughout the course of the case. As the case sped to trial, both sides agreed to pick a subset of automakers to question during the discovery process, and Subaru and Kia were simply not part of that group, Natalenko added. There is nothing nefarious there. They just weren't selected, he said. Judge Woodlock said he was trying to figure out why I should be as irritated as I am. Is it an ethical violation? I think probably not, the judge said. Do I encounter it from time to time? Yes, I do. Do I like it? No, I don't. So it seems like he feels like he got, he feels like he got hoodwinked. And I understand why he feels that way. Now, at the same time, they do make the point that turning off the telematic system is not really complying with the law. It's evading the law. So, if you make a law, I'm just going to come up with some really basic analogy here. Let's say you can't cross the street when the light is red. So I just decide I'm just not going to cross a street that has a light on it. I'm going to live my life avoiding crossing. You're not really obeying the law. You're just evading it. Probably a horrible analogy, but I don't know. I can't come up with better until after I get lunch. So it says the Alliance has said switching off the technology is avoiding, not complying with the law. So now it really depends with definitions. When you say that you cannot comply with this law, well, you can comply with it by evading the telematics altogether or switching them off. But again, that's really just, I'll leave that up to you in the audience. Do you think that is being sneaky and, again, just really, really, really trying hard to be as pedantic as humanly possible in order to claim that you're correct and you weren't making something up? Or do you think that is correct? The automakers further claim giving independent auto mechanics access to a vehicle's telematics system, which tracks data such as location, speed, braking, and vehicle diagnostic information, puts manufacturers at risk of violating federal safety standards by forcing them to either disable certain safety features or create a cybersecurity risk if the data falls into the wrong hands. A lot of people here have asked, why is my vehicle tracking as much information on me as it is? Why is all that stuff inside of my car? Why are you saving it? That's been a question that comes up routinely, and I would absolutely love to discuss that with that automotive engineer if he is cleared by his employer to be able to come on, because he's very knowledgeable about this stuff, and I think it would make a great discussion. The other thing is when it comes to the whole cybersecurity risks, how is it that you're creating these? If you create this system, if you put it together in a manner where an independent mechanic is able to access the same wireless diagnostic tools that a dealer would be able to access, how is that a cybersecurity risk? But further, how would that be a cybersecurity risk for the independent where it's not a cybersecurity risk for the dealer, unless you're assuming that the dealer technician is an angel, which, again, what we've proven here time and time again is not the case. From many different manufacturers, you will have people, whether they're uploading sex tapes or anything, going through people's data, all sorts of weird stuff, texting themselves, raunchy pictures from a customer's phone. I've gone over numerous examples here of this happening with authorized technicians. But if it is that much of a cybersecurity risk, I'm not buying it. Judge Woodlock seems skeptical of the latter argument during Wednesday's hearing, saying the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has not explicitly said the Massachusetts law would cause the car makers to violate federal law. Well, what we got was a Zen cone, or the Oracle at Delphi telling us what the role of the NHTSA would be. But we certainly didn't get something saying this is a violation of federal law, the judge said. Again, these are some seriously cutting statements here. The judge seems pissed. I don't think that he is on the side of the automakers here at all. And I think that we may get a favorable ruling. What you got was them all saying they're concerned, Judge Woodlock said, adding dryly, "Aren't we all?" I like this judge. I want to beat this guy. I want to buy him a beer. The judge signaled that the case was nearing an end. He referenced the trial of former chief of staff to a Massachusetts mayor convicted of corruption, a case that was slated to go to a jury in December, but was pushed back to March when a government witness tested positive for COVID. Judge Woodlock said he wanted to have the automaker's suit decided before the jury trial begins March 7th, asking the Attorney General to delay enforcing the law a bit longer until he reaches a verdict. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation is represented by John Natalenko and just a bunch of names and credits, and the Attorney General is represented by Robert E. Toone, Eric Haskell, Phoebe Fisher Groban, and Julia Kobrick, and that's about that. I was honestly worried about this. When I did this video, I kind of thought that we were screwed because it didn't really seem to be going anywhere. Even into late August, it did not really seem to be going anywhere. I feel a little bit better about it now. What do you all think here? Again, one of the things that I've heard people saying is your car, your data. If your car is going to be collecting data on you, then you should be allowed to choose to have a mechanic of your choice get access to that particular system. And it's an argument that I can honestly understand. If car manufacturers are going to start doing more of the diagnostic and repair stuff wirelessly and the original build does not give independents access to that, I understand why this would be necessary. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I really do think in the next month and a half that you will see a favorable ruling on this. I didn't think that there was going to be one, but I think there's a good chance of that actually happening. And I don't think that this judge is particularly happy at how he was treated by the opposition at all. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something.